She'll sit there.
Ready?
I am.
Okay.
3-4 days.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting for Monday, May 21st, 2018. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing. Last week, retired police officer Christine Parr lost her battle with cancer. Chris was a 30-year employee who retired in October of 2016, served our police department in many roles, including a DARE officer, school resource officer, training instructor, and traffic officer. Our hearts are saddened by the loss of Chris. Please remember her son Nick during these difficult times. I'd like to pause for a moment to remember Chris and have a moment of silence in her honor. I would also like to have a moment of silence for the victims of the Santa Fe school shooting. Please stand. Thank you. Roll call. Clerk Simpson.
Trustee Brady?
Here.
Trustee Vogel?
Here.
Trustee Papantos?
Present.
Trustee Kruger?
Present.
Trustee Vito?
Here.
Trustee Lang?
Here.
President Horker?
Here. No minutes. Any changes to the agenda?
None this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Spondilis. Proclamations. Clerk Simpson.
The Power of Public Works, National Public Works Week, May 20th through May 26, 2018. Public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works programs and systems such as water, sewers, streets, engineering, urban forestry, public buildings, and fleet maintenance. The health, safety, and comfort of a community greatly depends on these facilities and services, especially in times of flooding, snow, and ice control, or water distribution for fire protection. The quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, maintenance, and construction, are dependent upon the efforts and skills of public works employees. The efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff public works departments is influenced and supported by citizens' attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform. This year marks the 58th Annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association, APWA. Patrick Hoker, President of the Village of Wheeling, do hereby proclaim May 20th through May 26, 2018 as National Public Works Week in Wheeling, and call upon all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public works and recognize the contributions which public works employees make to our health, safety, welfare, and quality of life.
Mr. Janik, you're in charge of that department. You make sure that the water goes in and the water goes out, and during the blizzards, the roads are kept clear, and that the working part of the village keeps working. Thank you very much. You're doing an excellent job. You're welcome.
Click it or ticket, May 14th to June 3rd, 2018. The safety and security of the residents of the Village of Wheeling and surrounding areas are vitally important. A large percentage of our residents regularly drive or ride in motor vehicles on our roadways. The use of seatbelts in passenger vehicles saved an estimated 14,668 lives in 2016. Regular seatbelt use is the single most effective way to reduce fatalities in motor vehicle crashes. The use of seatbelts is supported by the laws of the state of Illinois and the Village of Wheeling. May 14th through June 3rd, 2018 has been selected as the National Click It or Ticket Mobilization Enforcement Period. Across the country, law enforcement officers will actively be participating in the mobilization to ensure all motor vehicles occupants are buckled up day and night to reduce the risk of injury and death caused in traffic crashes. Increased enforcement of seatbelt laws coupled with publicity has proven to be an effective method to increase seatbelt use rates and decrease fatal crashes. Patrick Horker, President of the Village of Wheeling, do hereby proclaim May 14th to June 3rd, 2018 as the Click It or Ticket mobilization in the Village of Wheeling, and urge all citizens to always wear seatbelts in driving or riding on our roadways.
Thank you, Clerk Simpson.
You're welcome.
We have no appointments, no administration of votes. Citizens' concerns and comments.
There are none.
Whatever will we do? Staff reports. Mr. Janik.
Thank you very much. Just want to give a short report on the rain event that occurred over the last 2 days. Started yesterday, approximately 10 o'clock in the morning, 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. We received approximately between 0.7 and 0.9 inches of rain yesterday. Then today, starting at approximately 6:30, 7 o'clock, we received approximately 2 inches of rain, depending on where you were in the village. This rain event equates to, given the rain yesterday and the ground having soaked up that much water, it's about a 5-year rain event. That is one rain event, or this rain event, every 5 years. We had Wheeling Road was closed for about 45 minutes. Other than that, we had one call for localized flooding. That's not to say that we didn't have some flooding in the gutters, but the roads were all passable, and they cleared very quickly. This is a testament to Public Works crews keeping things clean, the board providing equipment to us to keep this stuff clean. And just as a small note, the forecast starting Saturday and Sunday called for less than 1 inch of rain, and we received almost 2.75 inches total. Not that they're right or wrong all the time, but just gives you an idea. Sometimes forecasts can be wrong. So.
Thank you, Mr. Janik. Clerk Simpson, consent agenda.
Consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which event the items will be removed from the general order of business and considered after all other agenda items. 11A, resolution authorizing the village manager to approve a contract with Chicagoland Paving Contractors Incorporated for the 2018 Street Improvement Program in the amount of $30,000. 11B, resolution authorizing the village president to accept a quitclaim deed from WTC LLC relating to land formerly used as IDOT right-of-way pursuant to the restated redevelopment agreement between the Village of Wheeling and WTC LLC for the development of land at 351 West Dundee Road, Wheeling, Illinois, comprising a part of the Town Center 2 TIF District at the Village of Wheeling, Cook and Lake Counties, Illinois. Item 11C, ordinance amending various sections of Title 13 Water and Sewers of the Wheeling Municipal Code. Item 11D, resolution approving a third amendment to intergovernmental agreement in regards to claim adjuster and safety consultant services.
Questions, comments? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Kruger.
Second.
Second, Trustee Brady. Roll call.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. New business.
13, could you go ahead?
Yes, please.
Okay, 13A, ordinance granting a variation from Title 19 zoning related to required parking for a restaurant at 58 North Wolf Road, Mexcal Mexican Grill, docket number 2018-8A.
Mr. Jennings. You want to read
Thank
B
you.
as well?
Yep.
I'm sorry, one moment. Read B as well.
Oh, read B as well. 13B, ordinance granting special use site plan approval for a restaurant and repealing ordinance number 2653, 58 North Wolf Road, Mexcal Mexican Grill, docket number 20188B.
Now, Mr. Jennings.
Thank you, President Horker. The petitioner, Mexcal Mexican Grill, is requesting 2 zoning actions. The Plan Commission has reviewed and recommended approval of both. The petitioner has taken ownership of this restaurant approximately 18 months ago and has been working with the village on the application to replace the old special use. They were able to operate under the old special use, but they desired some changes to the operation and have been working toward that. They do own and operate other restaurants in the area under different names, but this restaurant group has experience in operating restaurants around here. The restaurant owners, prior to this group taking over, had increased the seating without authorization, and when we did a business license inspection for this ownership group, we discovered that. They were very good to work with us and reduced the seating to a level that we set. The variation action, although it does technically increase the seating from the original 1990 approval, it is a significant reduction over what had been found in the restaurant a couple of years ago. So the Plan Commission, as I said, reviewed both items, recommended approval of both. The restaurant owner group is here if you have any questions for them. But the conditions of approval, let me just read this real quick. There's a condition of approval in the special use ordinance, no conditions of approval in the variation ordinance. Special use ordinance includes this condition: a bicycle rack shall be installed on the site in a location agreed upon by staff and the owner. And with that, the petitioner's here if you have any questions.
Do we have questions from the board? Right, left. If there are no questions or comments.
So moved.
Motion for, I'm going to do one at a time. Ordinance A first, Trustee Brady.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Trustee Kruger. Roll call.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Harker?
Yes. Ordinance B, motion.
So moved.
Trustee Kruger.
Second.
I'll give that to Papantos. You're a little slow there, Mr. Brady. Roll call.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Harker?
Yes. Welcome back in business.
Item C, 13C, ordinance granting a variation from Title 19 zoning related to required parking for an industrial facility at 567 Northgate Parkway Restaurant, docket number 2018-7.
I'm sorry. Mr. Jennings.
There's a companion item with this one as well. D is the site plan approval for the same.
Oh, I'm sorry. So D.
D, ordinance granting site plan and appearance approval for a new building within an existing industrial facility at 567 Northgate Parkway, docket number PC 18-6.
There we go.
Thank you. The petitioner, Wheeland Metals, has an existing industrial facility on Northgate Parkway and is looking to expand the facility by adding a second building to the north of the existing building that you see here in the photograph. The petitioner is planning on this project being a potential two-phase project. So the first action that they're requesting approval of is to construct a new production bay, two new production bays and a office area. This plan does have the potential for future expansion, so some of the Plan Commission discussion related to how to set up this building for an additional expansion in the future. There are two zoning actions. There's a parking variation. The buildings are mostly open area. They don't have a very large number of employees and therefore have requested a variation from the standards of the code. They're also requesting site plan approval for the new building. During the review, as I mentioned, there were two items of discussion related to setting up the potential expansion of a future phase toward Lake Cook Road. The petitioner had requested consideration to leave the north end of the building where the additional bays would keep going, leave that north end of the building as metal, a metal material, and not have any masonry on that side of the building. The Plan Commission did not see any issue with that, and that's part of the recommendation from the Plan Commission. The Plan Commission also recommended that the petitioner consider setting up the addition by removing some of the landscaping from the landscape plan that would have been in the footprint of the additional future expansion of this building. So the Plan Commission review had several conditions of approval. I'll read those for you. Number 1, landscape irrigation shall be provided in accordance with the code. Number 2, if a looped water main is proposed, a plat of easement shall be provided prior to permit issuance. Number 3, the mason material will extend north along the west elevation of the new building, but may end at the northernmost window to facilitate the construction of additional bays. And number 4, the landscaping plan may be adjusted to reduce landscaping within the footprint of the future phases while meeting the intent of screening the north elevation. And just one additional note, the petitioner, while they did agree to the additional masonry along the west elevation, there was a request that they had made during the Plan Commission discussion to remove some of the masonry on the east elevation. It's not very visible from Northgate Parkway. The Plan Commission ultimately didn't take up the discussion on that, and the discussion moved on to other items. So since that meeting, the petitioner has asked where that stood, and I think that they would, if they would come up to answer questions, I think that is one item that they're wondering if that was part of the Plan Commission recommendation. And as it stands, that was not part of the recommendation by the Plan Commission.
Trustee Papantos.
I just have a few questions. Are they?
Yeah.
Sorry. First of all, thank you for expanding in Wheeling. You've been there as long as I can remember, and I've been around a long time. What is your time frame on this project?
We intend to go for the first 2 bays in the office portion right away, within a week maybe, to apply for permit, if everything goes well tonight. And then the final 2 bays, depending on how we do with the first 2 bays and the business plan of the company, to do that later on. We don't have a timetable on that.
Okay. You talked about permitting. What are your plans as far as retention and detention there? Because I know MWRD.
Yeah, that's all been approved in two prior permits. So that's all been approved by the MWRD for the future development.
So you're set to go right now?
Set to go.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. Trustee Lang?
Yes, since you're here, hi.
Yeah, sure.
So you have a strip of land still available on
The north side.
north side.
Right.
So any future intention for that land? What?
Well, that would be the next 2 bays,
Okay. Oh, so all the way to Lake Hook?
all the way to Lake Cook.
Oh, okay. I see phase 1 and 3, so that would be,
Yeah, so 4 and 5 would go all the way to Lake Cook.
wow, big building. Okay, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Lang. Any other questions? Trustee Brady?
Excuse me. That area that you're going to be putting up right now, and you say you only want to use the metal, is that going to be built on against that later?
Yeah, that's why we don't want to put masonry there. So the north facade is all metal, which would be easier for us to add on to that building and not have masonry to take off of.
Okay, I just, we spent a lot of time through the years trying to improve our looks, and I certainly can understand your things here. Do you want to put it up to tear it down eventually, but you think that this is eventually going to happen?
Oh, yes. It all depends on the timing.
Would you take it in writing that on that last edition that we'll have at least brick Parkway up showing
Oh,
Lake Road?
we intend, and we agreed with the Plan Commission that when phase 5 is done, we will have masonry at the continuous all the way around 13 feet up all the way around the building.
What about the west side?
The west side, we agreed to having masonry all along the west side.
Okay. Oh, that's
And
good.
there's a berm there on the
Yes,
road, so
yes.
it'll hide some of the lower ground, the lower metal siding right now.
Yeah, that, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know who's involved in it, but that mess right off of Lake Hook Road up there, they call landscaping, is nothing but a bunch of shrubs and weeds and et cetera. Now, I don't know whose property is that? Is that state? Anybody know?
The berm is owned by Wheeland Metals.
Pardon?
The landscape berm is owned by Wheeland.
Okay. We got to do something with that. Anyways, okay, good luck.
Thank you.
You've been a good citizen here at the Village of Wheeling. I know you're quite thriving. I did a trip through that back some years ago through your facilities. Mind-boggling what you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Brady. Any other comments or questions?
I have a question, Mr. President.
Mr. Frollo?
Can you explain to the board, sir, the request related to the masonry on the east elevation?
And is it possible to put up that Right there. So the bottom picture, we have just a little, maybe 40 feet of masonry right there. And since we agreed to, on the next elevation above that, on the west elevation, we intend to bring that masonry all the way down and additional bays, keep that masonry all on Northgate Parkway. The little portion that's 40 feet facing the pond, no one's really going to see. So I should have brought that up with the Plan Commission, but it was an afterthought after I got home, after the Plan Commission, saying if we get all that on the west side, can we take a little bit off of the east side, which no one sees? It's all about budget.
Sure. So you're asking the board to add a condition to remove the masonry requirement from the east elevation?
Of the production, just the production, not the office building.
Okay. Andrew, do you have a condition for that?
Yeah, we could word a condition that would specifically allow for them to remove the masonry from the east elevation outside of the office area.
Excuse me, is the office area the lower building?
Lower portion, yeah, that, we intend that to be all masonry.
Thank you.
And then masonry along the south side of the production building, on the west, and anything future on Lake Cook Road.
So are you asking that the masonry material be removed from the portion of the east elevation that is north of the office area?
Yes.
Okay. That's the additional condition that the petitioner is requesting.
Could you state that again?
That the masonry material may be removed from the portion of the east elevation that is north of the office area.
East elevation, north of the office.
North of the office area, which I think this gentleman pointed out.
Everybody good with that? Mr. Jennings?
Just to, procedurally, the design guidelines do allow for this. The design guidelines do allow for discretion in interpreting that a particular elevation has low visibility. The west elevation has high visibility, it's right on Northgate Parkway, but the code does allow for
I was
this.
just more concerned with, does that work for you?
I believe it would work for me.
Thank you.
And that would relate to item D, not item C, correct?
That's correct, the site plan.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Look for a motion to approve.
Moved.
Motion trustee Brady, second.
Second.
Trustee Papantos. Roll call, please. We'll do one at a time.
Yes.
That's acceptable. Trustee Brady, is that acceptable?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
C.
Okay. Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Worker?
Yes, we need a motion for D.
So moved with the condition?
Thank you, trustee Papantos. Second.
Wait. Cancel, it didn't say, oh, now it's saved, okay. Wait,
We got it. Hang on.
D, okay.
Good.
Yeah, okay.
That was a motion, trustee Papantos, and second, trustee Vogel. Roll call.
Okay, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Worker?
Yes. Congratulations. Thank you
Thank
for
you very
staying
much,
and Repealing.
everyone. Thank you.
E.
Item E, resolution accepting a bid and approving a contract in the amount of $150,000 with Denler Incorporated for the high-density mineral bond HA5 asphalt treatment program.
Mr. Janik.
Thank you. Public Works is requesting that the board approve this contract. This is the second year that Public Works has proposed and is intending to apply preservative on certain roadways in the village. The idea is that this specially engineered preservative will reduce cracking and moisture infiltration into our pavements, which gives the pavements a longer lifespan. This is called HA5. A member of the company that's going to be applying this is here tonight if you have any questions. Last year we applied this in Hollywood Ridge, as you might remember.
Questions from the board? Trustee Papantos?
Thank you. What effect does this have on traffic operations during the time? How long can people drive on it right away or
No,
not?
it's, last year we had a 24-hour, generally speaking, we allowed it to drive 24 hours between 12 and 24 hours, depending on how humid it was. This year, we probably won't have as many problems with humidity because there aren't as many trees in the areas that we're going to be applying this to. Hollywood Ridge has a lot of trees that overhang the pavement, which keep the humidity down or high. So we expect that at least 12 hours once it gets put down.
And when will we know if it's working, I guess?
Well, I think that we've checked the way we know that it's working is that if the pavement itself has, it soaks up this preservative, and as long as the pavement itself shows an indication that the preservative has been when it's applied and afterwards that it's smooth and there aren't any fissures in the pavement, that's when we know that it's working. I can't, we can't. We're expecting this to extend the life of the pavement for, say, 5 to 7 years before we have to, grind and overlay. But it is crack sealed before it's applied, then it's applied. I can't point at a study that shows exactly how it's affecting our pavement. It's a sort of a long-term chance at extending our payments.
Will this eventually go on all pavements that have been with the grind and overlay?
I think the intent was last year, year before last, when we first decided to do this, we would do this for 4 years and then see where we're at. Last year we spent more money than this. We spent approximately $250,000. This year it's $150,000. So our idea was to do a 4-year stint and then look back and see how it is working.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. Trustee Lang?
Thank you. Well, Trustee Papantos, I had it done to my street, and it is holding up pretty well. I thought the street sweepers would really do a number on it, and it's held up pretty well to that as well. There are some wear spots that I've seen in certain areas, but probably high-traffic areas. But my request, please, is to, and I don't know why people do this, they know it's fresh material that's put down, and people still drove all over it. And once you drive on it, it pulls up, and you get tire marks, and that's probably areas that wear down faster because they're pulled away. So whatever you can do and to keep the folks from driving on it, the better success you'll have with it.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Lang. Trustee Brady?
Thank you. Are there anybody here from the Denler Corporation? I have a question about the possibility of how it can be put down. Nobody's here?
Somebody was supposed to be here, but I guess maybe they couldn't make it, I guess.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to know what the situation is doing older streets that have been sealed, crack sealed. Is there any, way that's going to affect the success of this stuff?
Well, there is crack sealing done before this is put down. But if you're asking if we put it down on streets that already have a lot of crack filling or crack filling, those in general we don't do. We'll have to grind and overlay those streets. The streets that we put this preservative down, for the most part, are relatively clean pavements that don't have a lot of previous crack filling.
Okay, the crack filling doesn't affect it other than the amount of the crack filling.
The amount of the crack filling, and if it's old crack filling.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Brady. Any other questions or comments? If not, I would be looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Papantos.
Second.
Second, Trustee Lang. Roll call.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes.
Item F, resolution approving an intergovernment agreement and service agreement with Cook County, Walmart, and Target corporations regarding road and traffic signal improvements to Lake Cook Road from Raupp Boulevard to Hastings Lane.
Mr. Ferrolo.
Thank you, President Horker. Cook County will be engaging in a significant construction project on Lake Cook Road, making improvements from Raupp Boulevard to Hastings Lane. Part of that work is done in the village of Wheeling. The projected cost of this project is over $57 million. Federal funding for the project is $22 million. County funding is over $34 million. And the village has requested that certain village work be included in this project or contract that the county lets out for bid. The village work requested includes the installation of noise wall staining, street lighting, emergency vehicle preemption, device systems, landscaping, electrical outlets and landscape medians, a water main, and design engineering. Of the total project cost, the village work projected cost is $1,514,000. The village will be contributing $721,118,000. The balance of the village, the cost for the village work of $793,374,000 will be coming from a federal and county grant. This resolution approves two separate agreements. The first agreement is an intergovernmental agreement with Cook County regarding the actual work to be done and the village's obligations relating to payment for the work that I outlined. The second agreement is a service agreement between the village, Cook County, Walmart, and Target Corporation. And what the second agreement relates to is the village's obligations post-construction, which include maintenance and electrification of the traffic signal that's in front of Target and Walmart. Through the service agreement, Target and Walmart are responsible to share the cost of the energy and the maintenance of that particular light. So the village will be billed, the village will pay the bill, and in turn bill Target and Walmart. So again, the resolution approves two separate agreements. It's before you for approval.
Questions from the board? Trustee Papantos. And
Thank you.
Mr. Vogel, you're next.
Do we currently split the cost of the electric for the light at Walmart and Target?
Yes, we do.
So we're not changing anything
No,
as far
it's
as
all the
that
same.
goes? This is just the new light. Thank you. And these funds will come from where?
They're in the CIP, budgeted in the CIP, but so they're coming from general village funds.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. Trustee Vogel?
That was my question.
Oh. Any other questions? Trustee Lang?
The staining of the walls, where are the walls going to be?
I've got a graphic up on your screen for you. The walls are going to be, generally speaking, the walls are going to be in front of Cedar Run. I mean, they're both on the north and south side of the roadway, but for Wheeling, they're on the south side of the roadway in front of the development, Lexington and on Cedar Run.
Okay, and there's nothing, will there be, I know there's a wood fence of some type by Whipple Tree. Will that be, remain that wooden fence?
That's correct.
Okay.
The improvements are from Hastings,
Right.
which is just to the west of Whipple Tree, but the Whipple Tree standard fence will remain as is.
Okay, thank you.
Now, the wall, as you may remember, board provided approval at least a year ago, and it's going to look like stone, sort of like that.
Okay, and that's just concrete, but concrete material, and they'll stain.
That's correct.
Look like stone, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
The bridge, the proposed bridge at the diversionary channel is going to look similar to that as well.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions? Trustee Kruger?
Thank you. Director Janik, just for the public, when is this project supposed to begin?
We're hoping that first of all, the purchase of the property, which took the longest period of time, it looks like that's going to be wrapped up probably end of the spring. They've done a good job. I mean, it's taken a while, but purchase of the property has been almost completed. So the idea is, hopefully, maybe starting at end of this year, they'll start doing utility work on part of this of the roadway, and then the construction would start next year, next spring or summer.
So this legislation is to get ahead of all of that?
It's been a long time coming, but some things some of the land had to be purchased before these agreements could be done. That's correct.
Very good, thank you.
If there are no other questions, I'd be looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion trustee Lang, second.
Second.
Trustee Papantos, roll call.
Trustee Brady? Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes,
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes.
Item G.
Yes.
Ordinance authorizing a redevelopment agreement between the Village of Wheeling and Uptown 500 LLC for the development of land at 500 West Dundee Road, Wheeling, Illinois, comprising a part of the Town Center 2 TIF District of the Village of Wheeling, Cook and Lake Counties, Illinois.
Mr. Ferrolo.
Thank you again, President Horker. The redevelopment agreement before the board tonight approves the TIF incentive package for the Uptown 500 project, which is a $90 million transit-oriented mixed-use development located at the corners of the northwest corner of Dundee Road and Northgate Parkway in the Wheeling Town Center 2 TIF district. The project will include 321 upscale apartment units, 10,500 square feet of retail, a 6-story parking structure that will match the 6-story apartment structure. Additionally, there will be accessory surface parking that will complement the parking structure. The final PUD plans for this project have been approved previously by the board. The development continues to include an architecturally significant sky bridge, attractive landscaping, monument signage, and a pedestrian-friendly layout. To hit some of the highlights of the RDA, the total TIF incentive for this project is $6.5 million. The TIF notes that will be issued pursuant to the RDA will be paid with the increment generated by the project, which means the project will pay for itself. Project construction schedule is always of interest. The developer has given us a projected construction start date of March 1st, 2019, with a projected completion date of September 1st, 2021. Mr. Resco and Mr. Carmelucci are here tonight to answer any questions. And gentlemen, I'm not sure if you had any statement you wanted to make to the board. Okay,
You can
certainly.
come right up here to the podium. And trustee Papantos.
Actually, I just wanted to go over the schedule. So you're going to start next spring?
The schedule outlined in the redevelopment agreement is incredibly conservative. We have our engineering plans being reviewed by the village engineer and his staff right now. We anticipate breaking ground this summer.
And I thought I did read that you'd be doing some grading this fall, at least?
Yes, we anticipate going vertical.
Great.
In this fall, yeah.
Thank you.
Trustee Vogel?
Yeah, this is more for village. Someone from the village could answer this. D&E, we're paying $150,000 for, or we're capping the amount paid for the roadway improvements of $150,000, and then the additional $75,000 for stormwater pipe.
Correct.
Is that included in the $6.5 million?
No, that's in addition to the $6.5 million.
And is that also coming out of TIF?
Yes, that's TIF related.
Okay. Thank you.
There are no other questions?
So moved.
Not easy tonight. Motion trustee Papantos, second.
second,
Trustee Krueger, roll call.
Trustee Brady?
yes,
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
yes,
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, welcome.
Thank you all. And I'd just like to say, in the 18 months since, we went under contract to purchase the property, between working with Andrew Jennings and planning staff, John Malanofi and staff, John Svondillis, all of you, Jim Ferrillo, Plan Commission, it's been a very straightforward process, very transparent, very collaborative. And speaking from experience, that's not always the case in public-private partnerships. So I think a lot of municipalities and cities can learn something from the way you all conduct yourselves. And it's been a pleasure. Looking forward to breaking ground. Looking forward to that ceremony, and beautiful project. So, thank you.
Thank you. Clerk Simpson.
13H, ordinance prohibiting the use of groundwater as a portable water supply by the installation or use of portable water supply wells or by any other method within a certain area of the Village of Wheeling.
Mr. Ferrolo.
Thank you, President Horker. Before the board is an ordinance prohibiting, it's a groundwater prohibition ordinance relating to the property the village owns at 115 to 119 South Milwaukee. This was property purchased in the Crossroads TIF district. The property had some underground contamination that the village was aware of. We've been working with our environmental consultant, V3 Consultants, to help get an NFR letter from the state, which means the state will essentially bless the property and indicate that there's no further remediation necessary. One of the steps needed is to pass this groundwater ordinance, which says very simply that groundwater cannot be used as a potable water supply for the properties that are outlined in the map attached to the ordinance. The properties included are 115 and 119 South Milwaukee, as well as several adjacent properties, including the Riverside Plaza Shopping Center. This is a requirement to help us along the way of obtaining the NFR. We do have a village code that says new wells can't be drilled anyway. This is really belt and suspenders for the IEPA.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrolo. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Trustee Lang. Second?
Second.
Trustee Kruger? Roll call?
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes.
Hey,
Item-
Jim,
Yes.
is the Des Plaines River included in that?
Pardon me?
The Des Plaines River?
No, I don't think so. That'll be next meeting.
Trustee, Clerk Simpson.
Item I, discussion regarding proposed amendments to Title 14, Chapter 4.32 of the Village of Wheeling's Municipal Code, alcoholic liquor dealers.
Mr. Sfondilis.
Thank you. This evening before you is a routine but thorough review with some suggested changes for our and to our liquor code. This evening, there are a number of changes that I will walk through, but it's important, I think, at the beginning to say that the recommendations do not affect any policies that the board has created. The changes that we're recommending are really routine. They deal with either modernizing the code, fixing Scrivener's errors, bringing the code into alignment with actual practice, and or matching state law. So staff is not presenting anything this evening that changes policies created by the village board. I think the easiest way to do this, if the board concurs, is to walk through 5 categories that have changes in them, and then talk about any questions that you may have, answer those, and then discuss the one thing that is a follow-up to a conversation that we had on the 19th, which is the delivery of packaged liquor, and we can review what staff is recommending as far as the enforcement side of that. So to separate those, we can begin. The memo outlines different categories, starting with the revenue balance for taverns and cafes. Essentially what this is there was a requirement for businesses to comply with a 50% rule. What this does is it puts the burden on the business as opposed to the village for proving compliance with that percentage. So again, it doesn't change what the board is requiring of the business. It just puts the onus on them to prove their compliance as opposed to us making requests of potentially sensitive financial information of them. Liquor license class changes. Previously, moving through the classes if a license holder wanted to change the class of license that they had. The way that the language was written previously, it is old language, and it specified certain classes that a license holder could move to. The new language simply provides better language that more closely reflects the village's longstanding actual practice with respect to authorizing changes to the liquor code, which means you're not just moving to a Class A or a Class B. We have far more licenses now than we did in the past. This language allows staff and the petitioner to go through the request and put them in the appropriate category that they belong, whereas before they were required to fit into a much more narrow class section. Processing times for special event liquor applications. Currently, the code requires that licenses must be submitted at least 14 days in advance. Even the application requires 30 days, so this code language matches the current practice of requiring 30 days. That said, staff likes to turn these around as quickly as possible and will continue to do so, but at least now the code language will match the existing practice. Keg tags and warning to minors. Keg tags are outdated and they're not used. It is old language. Really, this is just cleanup. So keg tags really aren't a thing anymore. There are much more modern ways that dealers use to track their kegs, if and when kegs are even being sold. I am told that that is really not a modern purchase. People don't really buy kegs anymore, although they are available through one retailer in town.
Beg to differ.
Well, we'll track you. We still have methods to do so. Really what this is then is about the warning to minors. Another cleanup language. Currently, the village is required to hand out cards to anyone attempting to purchase alcoholic beverages, which again is just a warning to minors. We don't do that. However, the other side of this code language, which is the posting a warning to minors within each retail establishment, is still required, and this language would not change that. So it would still require the posting of a warning to minors. It just doesn't require that retailers hand out cards that are a warning to minors. Essentially, other than other Scrivener's errors, a couple of misspellings and other general cleanup language, those are the only substantive changes that after spending a great deal of time going through the liquor code, staff is suggesting. So maybe I can answer any questions if there are any based on this presentation, and then we could talk about delivery of packaged liquor.
Any questions? Great job.
Okay.
Moving
Thank you.
forward, delivery.
So delivery of alcoholic beverages, we had previously received direction from the board to create a process where we can monitor the sale and delivery of packaged liquor through those license holders whose license already allows such. So the language already was present in the code. We are not changing that language. We are simply better defining it and then creating an enforcement protocol in order to follow up on those sales appropriately. The additional language defines delivery and explicitly states that delivery of alcohol is permitted within the jurisdiction of Wheeling, but is subject to regulation. Again, the language previously was interpreted to believe that that is the case. What we have come up with is a process for our law enforcement to follow up on such deliveries, again, through license holders who are already allowed to do so. One of the challenges was, how do we measure both the person delivering the packaged liquor as appropriate, and how do we ensure that the person receiving the liquor is over 21? One of the challenges is that there's really two categories of delivery types. There is the group that already has a license, so wheeling businesses that have a liquor license and are therefore subject to Bassett certification already. And then there are the third-party delivery services such as Grubhub, Uber Eats, even UPS. They have their own protocol for proving age and then retaining records. There's not much that we can do for those third-party businesses, but as far as wheeling business liquor license holders, we can require them and are requiring them through existing language that the delivery person must be Bassett certified. And the reason that that is so important is because really this is about making sure that the recipient is 21 years of age. Typically, the Bassett certification component for a server in a restaurant deals with making sure that the person they're selling to, yes, is 21 years of age, but also that they are not already, have not already consumed above the limit. In this case, the focus really is on identifying appropriate government-issued identification and then retaining the record that they have a signature from someone whose ID was checked, and then, like I said, they retain that record at the restaurant. So the way we can do this has been outlined for the board in a memo. Our police department has spent a good deal of time making sure that the process that they have come up with is realistic. And part of doing so is the police department joining the Illinois Department of Revenue Liquor Control Commission, the LCC. They help with training. They help organize the entire conversation of rules around delivering packaged liquor. But the important takeaways here are that package delivery will now be subject to the sting operations as restaurants already are. So this will be an additional enforcement process that the police department will run, and that the person delivering the liquor will be 21, and obviously the person receiving the liquor will be 21. A signature will be obtained and then kept on record. That's it in a nutshell. I can answer any questions. Jim can answer any legal questions. Commander Licari spent a good deal of time putting this together, and he's here this evening if you have any questions related to the police department. But essentially, this is it in response to the request made by the board at the meeting on the 19th.
Trustee Vogel, Trustee Papantos, you're next.
I have a question for Jim. Jim, is there any legal liability on the part of the village if either a third party or an existing business delivers to a home and obviously they're not going to be checking to see if the guy's already under the influence? They deliver the liquor and 2 hours later the guy goes out and gets in a crash?
Yeah, I would say no, Trustee Vogel. Just like if somebody is in a bar and is overserved and there's a dram shop claim, it's going to be made against the bar owner. In this case, it would be made against the potentially made against a delivery purveyor, but the village is really just a regulatory agency and is not going to be held liable for a particular transaction, as long as our codes are up to speed, and the codes are, as proposed, are lawful. You feel that we have enough regulation in there? I mean, we're checking to see that they're of legal age, but if they're in a bar, they're responsible at checking to make sure they're not under the influence too when they serve them. So are we losing that step with home delivery? And potentially you are. I mean, you're not witnessing somebody's behavior like somebody in a bar could over time. This was vetted pretty thoroughly by the police department, and I think they feel comfortable that it's, Commander Licari's here, that it's workable. Am I right? Okay. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Trustee Vogel. Trustee Papantos, Trustee Brady, you're next.
Thank you. Once we accept this ordinance, How will the establishments that are currently delivering be notified of the changes?
We will write a letter outlining both the code, the interpretation of the code, and what it entails, and we will deliver it to each of the appropriate license holders.
And will the compliance checks be done at the same time that they're currently done for in-house? Sorry, I didn't phrase that well.
Thank you. Historically, we do compliance checks annually. We will expand that to include these, probably more than once a year. And at the current time, I can't tell you when we will do them. We will do undercover operations.
I know that currently the compliance checks, establishments are notified that they're going to occur. Will they also be notified that their delivery will be checked?
More than likely, we'll just add language to the notifications we present in advance about this as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Papantos. Trustee Brady?
Thank you. You know, awful lot of legislation is going into this. Our liquor license is becoming quite complicated. And I'm wondering, will we be able to keep up with this? How are we going to know what's going on out there? If kids want to deliver or buy alcohol, they'll find a way to do it. And, you know, I'm wondering, will the police be able to handle all this? How are they going to monitor it? You know, we're talking about a person over 21 years old with his certification as, you know, as a bartender, whatever we call that, dram shop, and going out there, you don't know what his, you know, what his mentality is. He probably belongs with a group of guys and delivering it to his buddies. He'll get somebody to sign it. We won't be able to follow that to the limit. And I'm wondering, maybe all these people that we're saying are able to deliver, maybe we should license these people that are delivering anything that would entail alcohol. You know?
I think the question you're asking is a policy question. It is a very good one, but we're just responding to the direction that the board gave at the previous meeting when that question was discussed. As far as our ability to stay on top of it, I think while it's lengthy tonight in the description and in the memos, I think it is fairly straightforward as just being another branch of enforcement to an operation that already exists within our police department. We don't see it as being overly burdensome, but the question you're asking is a great one of policy that, at least as of our last meeting, was answered by the board.
Okay, you know what, I could tell you, but I know several, probably more than several parents that put a lot of faith in their kid, and they don't mind their kids drinking beer or whatever, and they'll order a six-pack or a case of beer delivered, sign for it, and give it to the kid. You know, how do you stop that?
I don't think that you do. I think it's the same as those same parents who go to the liquor store and bring it home. I don't know that there's a way that the municipality can manage that.
There's not, but there is a social host law on the books that if that situation occurs, Trustee Brady, and one of those underage individuals gets drunk, goes out and drives a car, hurts somebody, the parents can be held civilly liable and criminally. The social host laws are very severe. They're on the books currently.
I know when I took this seat 10 years ago, I think it was, the liquor license available were like this. Today, it's getting to cover the whole page with all the different, this way and that way, and the amendments to it. And if we make it so complicated, who can know what's going on? How can these police possibly, you know, keep a finger on all of these different aspects of underage drinking? That's all I have. I'm just blurting here because I know when I was a youngster, I liked beer. You know, and there's always a way to get it. No matter what they come up with, there's always a way to get it. So, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Brady. Are there any other questions?
Yeah.
Trustee Lang?
I think this is a good way that the village is answering the changing of the times. I mean, there was one time where all there were liquor stores and that's all you could do is go to that specific liquor store. Now you have grocery stores that have liquor. You have delivery, which is a new service, relatively new for groceries, and liquor is part of that as well. And I think we're getting ahead of it all and doing it in a good way for changing of the times. So I think it's a good thing.
Thank you, Trustee Lang. Any other questions? Trustee Krueger.
Thank you, President Horker. Commander Licari, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to ask you to come up to the microphone. I'm glad that that you guys have thoroughly looked at how to do quality checks on the delivery. I guess not to give away your secret, but how? Because when you do it in an establishment, you have an undercover officer in the establishment witnessing the underage sale. Are you going to be in the bushes? Are you going to be in a car? How do you witness it?
Well, I hope not to be in the bushes, but we will do a covert undercover operation, not to give too much away, but we'll probably lease out a hotel room somewhere and then place an order and conduct it as if we were walking into an establishment. We'll have operatives in covert locations. We could wire the room, but we will ensure that the law is followed.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Krueger. Any other questions? If there are no other questions, we don't really need a vote so much as a consensus from the board. Does everybody find, is the board in agreement with the ordinances as drafted? And basically, Clerk Simpson, just give me a roll call with a yes or no from everyone.
Okay, Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes.
Okay, they all agree.
I will bring that to you at the next meeting in ordinance form. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrolo. Official communications. Clerk Simpson, do you have something for us?
Yes, I do. This coming Monday is Memorial Day, so the 2018 Wheeling Memorial Day Parade hosted by AmFest Post 66 will be at 10 a.m. on Monday, May 28th, 2018. The parade will start at the former Sam's Club property at 1055 McHenry Road and will travel southeast on McHenry Road towards the Wheeling AmFest Post 66 at 700 McHenry Road. McHenry Road Route 83 will be totally closed from Aptokistis Road to Lexington Drive from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. 11 a.m. I'm sorry.
No business for me that day.
Long parade.
Trustee Lang, you had something?
Yeah, I want to take this time to congratulate Al Palicki of the General Manager of Signature Aviation and a member of our Police and Fire Commission on being inducted this Thursday into the Illinois Aviation Hall of Fame. It's a big deal for aviation-related entities in Illinois, and Al had been nominated, and he's part of that on Thursday at the annual meeting. Also want to point out congratulations to the police department. Great turnout for the Cops on the Roof last Friday. Looked like there were a lot of folks that stopped by, and hopefully you got a lot of good donations for Special Olympics. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Lang. If there are no other comments.
Nope, over here.
Mary.
Oh, I'm sorry, Trustee Krueger.
Thanks. I have a few things. First, John, I want to thank you and your team on negotiations for the Uptown 500 project. It was really nice to hear accolades come from the petitioner this evening. That was really special, and I was like, took my thunder, but that's okay. It sounds better coming from him. Second, I'd like to congratulate the girls Wheeling High School's girls track and field team for a very successful season. Kudos to Coach Tim Nowicki, and especially the 5 young women that qualified for 6 separate events at the state meet held at Eastern Illinois University this past weekend. Very well done. Even better news, I believe 4 out of 5 of these athletes will be back next year. Lastly, and easily a more concerning topic. We'll start it out as good, and then we'll finish with the concerning part. I attended the active shooter presentation given by our Sergeants Elwart and Hyam last Wednesday. It was very, very informative. However, not well attended. So that's the part I'd like to address. It's the second time I've participated in one of these things, and I urge any of our local businesses that have not already reached out to the Chamber of Commerce to schedule one of these presentations for themselves to do so. Managers Fondilas, can you tell us when the video of Wednesday's presentation will be available to the public?
We are going to edit it and have it up on the website by the end of the week. And the intent is to use that video as a reference for any residents or businesses that would like to either play it for their employees or just watch it for their own knowledge. So it'll be up by the end of the week.
Thank you very much. I knew they were mic'd for a reason, not just to speak to the crowd. So that's good. In light of yet another tragic U.S. school shooting, I am convinced that knowledge and preparedness are two things that this village can offer to our residents and businesses. We're certainly doing that via our partnership with the Wheeling Prospect Heights Chamber of Commerce, with the video that we're about to offer to our residents and businesses to use as they see fit, and with the expertise and training done and being done by our first responders every day. For that, I am personally grateful. I still wonder if it's enough. I'm appealing to my colleagues here on the board to, one, continue to support our existing efforts to help our citizens have the confidence and the tools that they need to keep their families, students, teachers, neighbors, and employees safe if tragedy finds its way to them. And two, let's keep thinking of more ways to do just that and share those ideas with staff to be vetted. As we all know, this does not always happen in a school. It can truly happen anywhere. And we simply cannot stop training and learning and communicating until the threat no longer exists. If you have not yet liked or followed the village's social media outlets on Facebook and Twitter, get on it. It's the easiest way to stay in touch on this topic specifically and other great news of our village. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Kruger. No, I wanted to say something about the shootings. That it's such a disturbing commentary on some of the ways society is headed. We're such a proud country. We're such an advanced country. This should not be an option. This should not enter people's minds.
Just like all that code changes that we just did for our liquor code because of the changing of the times.
Sorry.
It's kind of falling in that same rut, although it's a much bigger thing than liquor. So
Yeah.
Since that legislation may not happen quite as quickly as John and his team put together the legislation for our liquor code, we got to be thinking of other ways to
It's more than
communicate.
legislation. It's illegal to kill people.
Oh, absolutely.
It's been illegal since the Ten Commandments. I go to these things, I'm sorry.
Go to the media.
We have,
Yep.
We have the bills to approve for May 3rd through the 16th, 2018. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Trustee Papantos, second, Trustee Kruger. Roll call, please.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. We have an executive session tonight to discuss pending probable or imminent litigation. We need a motion to recess to executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Trustee Kruger, second, Trustee Vogel. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vogel? Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, it is about 7:39. We will recess into executive session. You guys can wait for us to come out if you like. Otherwise, have a nice evening. Thank you for sharing your time with us.